And welcome back to the Legislative Lounge. I am your host, Nate Bigelow, and my co-host, Professor Mike, or Mike Bales as it goes by. How are you doing today, Mike?
It's a wonderful day here in Arizona. We've got a few things to talk about, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I know there's been a lot of tension going on, especially in the Middle East, but that's kind of been dragging on over here because of who's involved. Obviously, everybody is talking about the whole Iran-Israel issue and what's going on in regards to that. It seems like it's an annual thing. Israel is in cahoots with somebody over there in the Middle East because, of course, none of those countries around there like Israel and everything about it. So, I mean, but it seems to be escalating to something much larger than what we've typically seen, especially with Iran and the whole nuclear deal falling through, and there's been talks back and forth about whether or not Donald Trump is actually going to get that deal done, or if Iran's willing to even participate in that deal. So there's a lot of moving parts, Mike, but what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, tension's high over there across the pond. Tensions are high here, not just with the presidency or Congress, but also civilian populace. Most recent polling data shows that a majority of the country does not want us to partake in another war. Rightfully so. We just essentially almost got out of the 20-year war with GWAT. But, Iran has always been an issue, especially since they are one of the global leaders of funding terrorism.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think it's an inevitability, and people need to face the harsh reality that if you want terrorism gone, you have to neutralize it.
Right. And that's kind of what we've been trying to do, is keep it at bay in regards to the whole nuclear talks with Iran, because as everybody knows, they've been trying to develop a nuclear weapon for quite some time now. I don't know what's the issue in regards to that, because I don't know the specifics of what Iran is and is not when it comes to the whole situation, but I'm a little surprised that they actually haven't been able to develop one. Do you know anything about that?
So the international community, there's a pre-existing agreement that Iran has the ability to use nuclear power for civilian use. However, since the 90s, they have been trying to stockpile their enriched uranium to develop nuclear arms. And I think they've always been close, or they've always had that capability. And it's kind of like telling a kid not to touch a hot stove.
Right.
So, we can go back to the 1990s and look at Bibi Netanyahu, who's been saying that Iran has had this capability since then, and has always been able to develop nuclear arms within just a few days, which was actually, I think, the Tulsi Gabbard said the same thing in her March testimony.
Right. And I mean, Iran is one of those hotheads that just honestly, like you say, not only do they fund all types of terrorism all around the Middle East and honestly around the world. You see a lot of these terrorist attacks in Europe and whatnot, and even here in the United States, funding has been traced back to Iran, along with a lot of other Middle Eastern countries. But it's one of those things that you just don't want. It's like a bad guy with a gun kind of scenario. All us good guys have a gun, right? But allowing that one individual to get that gun, it seems like that would cause a little bit of chaos. But taking a little bit deeper look into everything that's going on over there, I know that Donald Trump actually came out just a couple hours ago, if not about an hour or so ago, talking about how we've not only taken complete control of the skies of Iran from a Air Force standpoint, you could say, but he also announced just recently that he's going to be putting on a special announcement sometime tonight. So we don't know what that is. Hopefully, we're in the thoughts of Iran finally reached out and is ready to do this nuclear deal. We really don't know, right? But what's even more shocking is just a few moments before the show started, the Iranian state media came out and said something along the lines of that they have a special announcement tonight that is going to be remembered for centuries. So that's kind of a, I don't want to say scary, because honestly they don't scare me at all, but it's one of those things that's like you really got to pay attention to, because again, Iran is like North Korea. They like to puff their chest up when in all reality most countries can smack them down like a fly. But you have to keep them in check because they tend to overstep their bounds. It's like this whole little brother situation, or mentality, it seems like, with Iran, is that they just don't know their place, honestly, and they don't understand that, look, you are a issue to the world, and we know it. So you don't have to put on this front about how, oh, you're good, you're the good guy, and you're only attacking Israel because they attacked you. But we know that you all run undercover operations, do different funding of all these attacks on Israel. Like, we have the receipts that are out there. It's not some kind of, oh, taboo, Israel is the bad guy in all this because they launched the missiles first. When in reality, we can trace this back and show numerous times where Iran has funded some kind of attack on Israel, Tel Aviv, and all these other areas in there. But thank God that they have the Iron Dome and all that other stuff, so it's been able to mitigate that. But then it gets to the point of whether or not the United States will actually get involved into it, because we do have a lot of U.S. citizens, and we have military in the country of Israel as well, and because of that, it tends to put us on our toes, I guess you could say, because if Iran puts out a full out attack like they said that they're going to, a missile, I think they announced it earlier this morning. They said that they're going to have a missile attack that's never been seen before on Israel, and if any of that harms an American or an American soldier, that's going to create an entirely different scenario from our perspective as the United States.
100%. And we also have to remember that we have a contract with Israel to assist, right? And that brings up my next point with Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna. You know anything about this resolution that they have introduced?
Well, no, I haven't taken a look into it yet, but before we were kind of like move into that, though, I wanted to kind of like hit home this whole situation, because I wanted to see what your opinion is in regards to what route we as the United States should take, right? Because this is the conversation going around right now. Like, because there's a lot of people that believe that we shouldn't be involved, like you said a minute ago. There are people that say we need to defend Israel to the death, because, they have these biblical misinterpretations or nuances of the book of Deuteronomy, which doesn't apply anymore. And those that defend Israel is blessed by God. But I guess they missed the entire chapter 21 of Matthew, where it talks about that they are no longer the chosen people. But, I digress. Mike, tell us about it.
As far as like, I don't have a problem with supplying munitions or arms to Israel. They don't really need it anyway.
No.
But like, their arms are our arms. And but it's like we don't need to fight their wars.
No.
They can take care of themselves.
Right.
However, should an American be harmed in any way, shape, or form by Iran, that's a different scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Iran gets turned into a parking lot.
Unfortunately. And the thing about it, though, then you have to start to figure, who are the allies of Iran? You got China, Russia.
When the full force of the United States is unleashed, whenever there's an American tragedy, the first ones to be quiet are China and Russia.
This is true. Now, I mean, me personally, I don't care about the situation whatsoever. I just worry about the Americans and the American citizens there. Like, even to your point where you were just saying about China and Russia, or well, China specifically, China even put out a message like, hey, if you're in Iran or in Israel, get out. Like, that's what their message to their people in those countries are. But, like, for me, I don't care. I don't care about the situation at all. I don't care about what happens in the Middle East ever. It's on the other side of the world. I'm tired of getting into people's wars. I'm tired of funding all this stuff. I'm tired of it. And in all reality, you got the extreme, conservative individuals that believe, oh, we have to defend Israel because the Bible says to, and all this other stuff. And it's just like I'm not hating on Christians or anything, but you know me, Mike. When it comes to the Bible, it's one of those things that there are so many Christians that don't understand it. It's ridiculous to me. I mean, especially those that say, oh, but they're the chosen people. I was like, well, I mean, if you read the parable of the tenants in Matthew 21, you'll see Jesus specifically talking to the Jewish nation and his disciples, saying that, therefore I tell you, the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to the people producing its fruits. And the one who falls on the stone will be broken to pieces, right? And if you read the story itself, it quite literally is the illustration of the Jewish leaders killing Jesus himself. Like he's prophesying about his own death and saying that, hey, when you do this, you're no longer the people. Okay, that goes to all the people in the promise, right? Like Matt in Acts 2:39, it says, "For this promise is unto you, and to all those who are far off, as many as the Lord shall God call." Right? But again, it's a little biblical understanding for you guys out there that are we got to defend Israel because they're the chosen people. Right? Stop. Full stop.
It's the same thing. Like when we get mad at leftists when they cherry pick scripture. It's the same thing when people on the right don't read into context.
Exactly. So, and more than likely, the bill that you were just talking about a second ago is probably one of those situations. But go ahead and tell us about this bill from Tom Massey.
This bill, I want to say a word that is not politically correct, but it is remedial. So essentially, Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, they're very, very much, we'll call it what it is, anti-war. Mm-hmm. And this concurrent resolution is directing the president, pursuant Section 5 Charlie of the War Powers Resolution, to remove the United States Armed Forces from unauthorized hostilities in the Islamic Republic of Iran. It basically it prohibits U.S. involvement in the Israel-Iran war. However, that would violate a pre-existing contract between the United States and Israel. So I don't think this goes into enough detail.
I was going to say, it depends on the detail. I was just about to say that. It depends on what it specifically says.
It's only 4 pages. We already know that U.S. cannot go to war without congressional authorization.
Right.
So I think this is just
kind of a redundant bill, it sounds like.
Yes. It's only 4 pages. The first part of it, the first paragraph, Congress has the sole power to declare war under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of the United States Constitution. Congress has not declared war with respect to or provided a specific statutory authorization for hostilities involving U.S. armed forces against Iran. So it's basically just saying you can't go to war without our say-so.
Right. I mean, again, the fact that there are so many congressional members that continuously put out stuff for them to have to look at, I mean, they have to at least look at it in the committees, right? It's like you're wasting time. You're wasting resource. You're wasting money because you have to pay your staffers through the taxes that pay for your staff, right? You're wasting resources to do redundant bills that will never pass, first of all. And even if it literally couldn't pass because it contradicts something already in place. Unless there's specific wording in it to where but you said it was only 4 pages, so I doubt that there's anything that has to do with nuances and things like that.
It's redundant.
I'm so tired of it.
It's a waste of a tree. There's a tree that is now dead because Thomas Massey decided to write this bill.
It baffles my mind that, and this is the thing, it's the left and the right, because Thomas Massey has been somebody that I haven't really disagreed with ever. I probably this is one of the first times I've ever disagreed with the guy, but it just goes to show that it doesn't matter what little letter you have next to your name. They all waste time and resources up there on Capitol Hill doing stupid stuff that doesn't matter or will not get passed.
And this was a knee-jerk reaction based on a poll that he made on X, basically saying, should the United States be giving Israel weapons to make war with Iran? And 126,000 people voted on this X poll, and it was 85% of those votes said no. So it's really stupid that he would even make this post, because we reciprocally trade arms with Israel because Israel's our closest ally.
It doesn't even matter. Like, this is why I get so frustrated with people on Capitol Hill. Like, he's grandstanding is what he's doing, basically. With this Twitter poll say, see, the American people don't want it. But what he doesn't want to tell you, the American people, on the backhand, is I believe in 21 or 22, we signed a 99-year lease with them in regards to trading arms and defense contracts. It doesn't matter what he does, says, or tries to perpetuate to you people, regardless of whether or not this is bipartisan, because, he put Kana on it, so it's a bipartisan effort. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. It's a waste of time.
We can't renege on that deal. It's just like the one in Ukraine. I have, as much as I don't like our dealings with Ukraine, Joe Biden signed that agreement.
Exactly. That's why I moved off it so quickly after the Budapest memorandum is what it is. And, I mean, you got so many people on the right, and it's like, guys, you're wasting time making videos, debating this. It does not matter. Because it is an agreement that will be upheld. Like, it is what it is.
That's why you'll never see any videos about Ukraine or our joining of Israel, our working together with Israel come from mine and Nate's page, unless, it's proven somebody wrong. And that's a 5-second video.
But, I mean, you got Donald Trump out here, too, as well, like, he's kind of making threats, almost, it seems like, with his recent truth post, whatever they're called. I'm used to calling tweets, but whatever, truth post on Truth Social. It says, we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader, quotation, is hiding. He's an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, in parentheses, kill, at least not for now. And it's like, I understand where he's coming from, because then he goes into what me and you were just talking about in regards to the civilians and the troops being harmed. And I think that's his red hard stop line, which is what I like, because he doesn't want to go to war, right? I mean, the left is taking this and they're running with it. Oh, Donald Trump's trying to start World War III. That's all you see all over social media today. But in all reality, they're not looking at what he's actually saying. He's saying, hey, knock it off, both of you. I mean, he's even told Israel, he's vetoed some of their plans to say, you're not doing this, right? Like, they wanted to assassinate the leader of Iran. And it's like, no. No. And yet, he's trying to start World War III, according to the left.
He's been trying to start World War III since 2016.
It's just the constant propaganda from the left. It's never ceasing, never tiring. I mean, it's just a machine that they churn. You got people out here. Now they're starting to pull in new faces on, like, TikTok and whatnot, kind of switching gears a little here, just like to put it all in perspective about the whole LA riots, right? You got people.
Gosh.
You got people out here like new faces like Scotty K Fitness and all these other like fitness people that are coming out to be these extreme liberals now and saying, "Oh, this is so wrong." And the biggest one that's getting me the most, Mike, it's downright making me laugh, is the fact that a lot of these leftists are using this sound bit about a child crying about her father being taken away from her.
That one.
But what's funny about it, Mike?
Yeah, I know.
It's a clip from a movie.
I know. But they don't know.
It's from a movie. And yet, still today, I saw another one. Like, we told y'all a week ago, this is not a real clip. Yet you guys are propagating it.
There was a dude that made a response to that, and he made a follow-up saying how angry he was, and he wishes that he could just brand those who supported Trump with a brand on their forehead. Like, man.
And those are the people calling us fascists. I just want to put that out there.
Wasn't there a group that made another group where identifying markers?
But we're the fascists, right? You know, they talk about, oh, you would have been the one to put Anne Frank or deport Anne Frank. First of all, nobody deported Anne Frank. She was still there. She was still technically, she was still in Germany's territory, right? Nobody deported her. They didn't like her because she was Jewish. And we already know that her diary isn't entirely truthful because her father embellished a lot of it. So this whole notion of, oh, Anne Frank, you're just Anne Franking these people. And it's like, first of all, she was a legal citizen of Germany.
Not just that. Not just that. You can't say that about a Jewish girl when you don't support Jews.
Like, I mean, there's so many contradictions and ideological inconsistencies with the left. It's dumbfounding that they even are able to walk and talk and probably chew gum at the same time. It's almost like every step with that.
We know they don't see the inside of a gym. Come on, you know they don't walk.
Ah, man, I don't.
There's disingenuous messaging going on all over since the Orange Man, since the Orange Cheeto took office the first time.
But a little kind of a good update in regards to the whole immigration topic, since we're kind of a little bit on that right now. The lowest number of border encounters in the past 24 hours ever recorded in U.S. history. And I believe they also said not a single person or a single encounter that was like captured or whatever you want to call it has been released out into the public. Like, what was it, 90-something% under Joe Biden? It was basically catch and release. Like a bunch of fishermen out there. You know?
Yeah. On top of that, nearly 1 million people have self-deported.
Gotta love that.
And, since we're on that immigration topic, have you heard about this Obama judge in Florida?
Yes, I was just about to get into that. Yeah, so the Obama judge in Florida She held the Florida Republican Attorney General in contempt of court because he refused to prevent police from doing their job, from arresting illegal aliens.
Yeah, a federal judge held Florida's Attorney General in contempt of court for enforcing the state's anti-illegal immigration laws.
The states or the federals?
No, the states. For enforcing the states.
I say, no, I mean, I was being redundant, but it's a state and federal law, and yet this judge is trying to hold somebody in contempt for following the law. And y'all wonder why we push for the NORA Act, the No Rogue Rulings Act, to go through, right? It's already passed the House. We're waiting for Senate to get off their butt and do something about it. But, it'll put these judges, these federal judges, in their place to where they can't make these idiotic rulings. And it's going to overhaul the whole justice system to where it should be. So that way, like, all of these blockades that they're doing on Trump and the Trump administration and all this other stuff, right? That'll go away. And it's not just for Trump. This is a good thing for both sides. For Trump and the Democrats. Because in all reality, this will apply across the board. So if you guys get in a Democrat in 2028, God forbid, but he gets in 2028, right? And he starts issuing out these executive orders, and you got all these federal judges that Trump's appointed, right? They ain't going to be able to just unilaterally block his EOs and all this other stuff from doing his job, as long as it's, constitutionally correct and all this other stuff. But the judges are out of control. The checks and balances of our nation have gone completely sideways.
I have never seen so many ever in history. And, they really started getting, they started in like 1963 is I think when we saw the first nationwide injunction, according to Clarence Thomas. But they have just been ramping up as time has gone on. And, just in less than 6 months of this presidency, Donald Trump has racked up more nationwide injunctions from these judges, both right and left-leaning judges, than Obama, Biden, and Bush combined.
And yet, people don't see the issue with that. Because it's Donald Trump, right? Orange man bad. We can't have him be doing anything in office.
My problem is you got a bunch of judges that have no concept or comprehension of the Constitution, or there's no way that they made it through law school, made it through years as an attorney, and then made it through years of being a judge, that you've never read the Constitution.
And that's why
it blows my mind.
And that's why when people say, "Oh, judges, they run and are appointed as nonpartisan," I'm like, bull crap, BS. They are all partisan. They all get paid off one way or another. No, I don't care if it's left or right, because I've seen plenty on the right. I mean, look at Amy Coney Barrett.
So when I become a judge, I won't be partisan. Never mind, I lied. I'll be partisan to Nate Bigg.
There we go.
You can pay me with creatine.
There you go. And of course, talking about the whole Congress and them not doing their job, you got this Representative Ilhan Omar in the news again.
What did she do this time?
Oh, God. This lady comes from Somalia. Let's put that in perspective real quick, okay? It's a third world country, basically. It's complete crap. Overran by slavery, sex trafficking, and everything you can think of in Somalia and that whole region of Africa, right? She says that the United States is turning into one of the worst countries on earth because she doesn't agree with political ideologies. But we're the worst in the world. When you come from a country that's full of slavery, human trafficking, and all this other stuff. Like, be for real.
Right. We're the worst in the world, but you're on the national stage and you're able to chastise your leadership and talk trash on your country with no repercussions. And you're a woman, and you're not white.
Take it even further. She's a Muslim woman, too, and she's a I know that might rub some people wrong, but if you know the Islamic culture, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, if you know what is it? A woman's word is worth half of a man. Mm-hmm. So, Miss Omar, you might want to take a few seats.
The fact that, there are so many issues with her, but I just want to put that out there for people, kind of like, it's one of those things. Ladies back in the what is it called? The crew or
the squad?
The squad.
Yeah, you got.
They're always trying to be relevant.
Rashida Tlaib, AOC.
Well, one thing that was actually just brought to my attention, Mike, I know you were talking about Thomas Massey and Mike Khanna, their bill. Well, it's been also reported that 8 different senators have submitted legislation just like theirs to prevent us from entering this conflict. They call it a war, but in all reality, it's just a conflict right now.
Like, these people need to grow up. Like, there should be a process to where I could just fire you. Oh, wait, there is.
It's been, and that's the kind of thing right now. It's been kind of slow with everything outside of this. Like, I don't know what Congress is doing. It kind of like the big, I know we're kind of waiting on the committee and everything in Senate when it comes to the quote-unquote big, beautiful bill. But, what happened to the Doge announcement? Like, they just had a bill that passed, I believe it passed the House of Representatives, that was supposed to solidify $9.4 billion in cuts. We haven't heard anything about it. Like, and people wonder why we get so frustrated with Congress and everything on Capitol Hill. It's because they slow roll everything.
But, I mean, then you get funny moments like this where you have Democrat representatives blocked from entering ICE facility and the ICE official shuts the window in their face.
Oh, Lord. Is that same lady? No,
This is a different one. This is in Chicago.
Oh, wow. It seems like... And that's what it's like the whole situation with Maxine Waters last week too, right? They think that because they're in Congress, they have this all-encompassing power where they can just do what they want. And if you question me, I am a congressional member, just like Maxine Waters.
You should see this person's tweet. Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy. Rep. Jackson and I were just denied entry to the South Loop ICE facility in Chicago. We went to ask questions and perform congressional oversight of potential illegal ICE activities as Donald Trump's administration targets immigrant communities.
Knock, knock. Hello, congressional members. You still have to go through the proper channels and assigning yourself to the schedule of doing that. You can't just show up the door just because you're a congressman and say, it's me.
Jump branches.
You haven't. You're talking about the executive branch and the legislative branch. You don't have rule outside of the proper channels to just show up at an ICE facility. You have to go through the proper channels of actually setting up at a meeting and all these other things that you have to do. You know this. But they're trying to grandstand for the media and everybody in the news so that way they can be seen. Just like Maxine Waters. But what the funny part is, Maxine Waters didn't realize that she was going to get that door slammed in her face as hard as she did, because you could tell on her face she was absolutely stunned.
That was beautiful. I love it.
Oh, Lord. But, talking about, let's kind of shifting this to the other side. One person that I particularly have been outspoken about a lot has to do with a certain senator from South Carolina who is a neocon through and through, who has always supported the wars and has been fiending for Donald Trump's nomination or endorsement, I should say, and yet always talks crap about him.
Told him to go all in.
The great the great Senator Lindsey Graham. A lot of people are starting to step up in South Carolina because there's a large movement against him to be primaried right now, which honestly I am all for, and I've been calling for since his last election. And I say, people, and that's why I don't understand. This is one of those things I don't always agree with Donald Trump on. Some of the people that he endorses and some of the people he nominates and puts on his staff and whatnot are absolutely dumb choices.
I told you, I'm pretty sure on one of our shows I said, give a little bit. Lindsey will show what he's all about, and he did.
Oh, of course, and Lindsey Graham's all for defending Israel and going to war and all this other stuff because he has a lot of people in the back channels that'll feed his campaign for this next election, so that way he can really make some money. And it's like people like him really need to be taken out of Congress. We don't need these people in Congress. Go retire. You've been in there for decades. Get out. We don't want you. South Carolina, if you are listening to this, please step up. Because we're doing everything we can here in the state of Texas and getting rid of people like Dan Crenshaw and all of them, absolute weirdos, and that's the nice way of me saying it, right? Out of office from here. And we're trying to get rid of John Cornyn, which that'll be an easy dub to get rid of because now we have Paxton running against him in the primary. He's going to landslide that probably. So we're doing our job. We need to, the Republican Party needs to start to come together and say, hey, we've got problem children, and there's a lot of them. And we need to start doing something about it. It's like, then you get the whole hard nose. They call themselves the grassroots people when in reality they're not. They're just going along because we don't want a Democrat in the seat. So we gotta back this guy. No, put your backing behind somebody that's actually gonna do what the Republican Party says they're gonna do. Stop endorsing these people just because they have a name. Start propping up new names. That's exactly what the Democrat Party's doing. That's why you get people like Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez coming out of absolutely nowhere. Jasmine Crockett coming out of absolutely nowhere. Guess what? Jasmine Crockett, she ran unopposed here in Texas. Hello,
Yeah,
Republican
true.
Party. She didn't even win. She just ran unopposed because
100%.
they're not doing the job.
If you're in Arizona, be sure to vote for Andy Biggs this coming fall.
Yeah, get Cartel Kate out of office.
Yep. To lighten the mood, you like Joey Behar, don't you?
Joy Behar.
Arnold Schwarzenegger shut her down.
I saw a little clip of it. It was quite interesting.
For those that didn't see the clip, Joy Behar, she was talking to Arnold Schwarzenegger about everything that's going on with the riots and whatnot, or the peaceful protests, as she liked to claim. She said, "Did you have a visceral reaction to what ICE is doing when you see the videos of it?" And Arnold said, "I am so proud and happy that I was embraced by the American people like that. I came over here at the age of 21 with absolutely nothing. And then I created a career like that. No other country in the world could do that. This is the greatest country in the world, and it is the land of opportunity." And then he goes and shuts her down with this. Like, when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, I will do everything. Oh, wait, I skipped a paragraph. But you got to do things legally. And those people that are doing illegal things in America, and they are the foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like, when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is right to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that.
I mean, as reality, I know a lot of people, especially being here in Texas. I know a lot of immigrants, right? Being in Fort Bend County, Harris County, one of the biggest areas in the nation for people from outside of America coming in to move into this area. So I know a lot of immigrants that went through the proper channels and became legal citizens, or they're going through the process. I haven't met a single one, not in person, not on social media, not on nothing, that is either gone through it or is going through it, that agrees with anything that these illegals are doing. But that should be but nobody's talking about that. The left,
100%.
the media, nobody cares about what the actual legal immigrants have to say about it. And yet, because they know that they don't agree with them.
100%. You remember, Nate, you know how we get into those debates and everybody says that America doesn't provide benefits to illegal aliens?
Oh, we all know that because we have the receipts, Mike.
I don't know if you saw my video I made the other day, but California alone commits almost $30 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
So $22 billion in just benefits and services.
Yeah.
They commit no money to border security.
Was it week 1? New York completely cut off food stamps and everything to them. And they announced it. Like, the fact that people are still sitting here saying that these illegal immigrants aren't getting Social Security. Because I saw some people on TikTok and on social media, the guy that does the dancing and he's, what I'm talking about probably if I showed you his face, because everybody's been going at him recently. Unfortunately, he's a Michigan fan, so, he's part of my crew, but he stays to the left. People like him are out here saying, "Oh, they benefit, they pay in taxes, they pay into Social Security from something they'll never get." I'm like, huh?
No. So the only people that pay in is, I know you know this, Nate. The only people that pay taxes or Social Security are those that have EIN numbers or TIN numbers or a Social Security number. And last time I checked, illegal aliens cannot get either.
Well, I know there are some states that are trying to make that possible, but we'll keep that for the back burner. But even to further your point, though, Mike, this whole situation with Vance, what's his name, the guy that was going around shooting people in Minnesota?
Yep, that guy that was appointed by Tim Walz.
Yeah, the first lady that he shot. Guess why he shot her? Now, obviously, the news won't admit this, but it's really one of the only things on why he would target her, because she's been completely partisan in all her other votes, except for this particular vote. What was that vote, Mike? Do you know?
It had to do with
stripping illegals from getting state assistance and food stamps and Social Security.
Vance Bolter.
There we go. This individual, they're trying to say he's a registered Republican, first of all, which is the funniest thing in the world because Minnesota doesn't have a list of registration. You can't verify who's registered as what in the state of Minnesota because it's a literal law that they don't track it.
But you can track down his appointment by the Democrat governor
twice. Two different, not just one, but two different Democrat governors.
Now, my thing with this that actually really pisses me off is he murdered he murdered two individuals, one being a senator, right, or a representative.
I think it was three total, one senator and two representatives. But he had a list of people apparently.
So my thing is these are congressmen and women, right?
State Congress.
Oh, these are state
Congress of Minnesota.
Okay, so the thing that pisses me off is the indictment shows second degree.
Even with a list, even with a manifest.
Yeah. Now, first degree dictates that the murder must be premeditated.
Pretty sure having a list of names to kill is premeditated. Just putting that out there, judicial system.
I'm pretty sure he didn't accidentally kill her.
Because didn't he like break into her home to do it in the first place or something like that? Like,
he chose to break in. He chose to murder her. Like, that's just one. And he had a list of names. He had the manifesto, right? Like, what are we doing?
He didn't have just the manifesto either, Mike. And this is kind of going back to what I was just saying, but in connection with you, is the fact that so many people are sitting here trying to propagate that he's a Republican and all this. Not that it matters, right? But it's the fact that he also, in his truck or his vehicle or whatever, they also found a bunch of flyers that said no kings. What was happening that day?
Yep.
The No Kings riot, or the protests.
The Democrat version of J6.
Now, I know this might be a weird question to you, Mike, but would you think that a Republican would have any kind of signs like that in their vehicle?
Not I. Couldn't be me.
Not a good look, right?
But anytime there's a situation like this, there's always like blame that tries to be put towards the right.
Always.
If it's a trans-identified school shooter, oh, well, that's one case. There's much more right-leaning school shooters.
I mean, you can even go back to the Trump assassination attempts, right? Both of them. They're registered Republicans, even though they have manifestos and social media posts about how much they hate Trump.
And you could track on the FBC their donations to Act Blue.
Right. But, just disregard all that.
Well, what are we doing? Like, if me and Nate, which we're not the smartest at computers.
Speak for yourself.
Okay. If Mike can track this down, I don't want to hear about it. You have help from Mimi. So if Mike could track this down, there's no excuse for the rest of y'all.
Right. I mean, that's the problem with most people, most Americans nowadays, is their news bias, right? If the news doesn't align with what they believe, it's conspiracy. It's this or that. If it does align, then they run with it, regardless of whether or not they know if it's true or not. They haven't looked into it. Like, oh, yes, I have. I've read it. I've done that. I've done the research. No, you haven't. You heard somebody else say it on social media, or you heard it from the news. You didn't actually look into it yourself. Like, stop lying to us. We know that you didn't do it. Because most people don't. Because they're either too lazy or don't have enough time.
100%.
But anyways, as of right now, we're basically on a kind of like a hold situation again for the second week in a row. Like, we get these like little news tidbits here and there out through Iran and whatnot, but still nothing that affects us. Congress still dragging their feet, not doing what they want, what we, the American people, voted them to do. Give you the House, give you the Senate, right? But yet you do nothing. I haven't seen anything. I don't know about you, Mike, but it just seems like it's the same hum-ho Republican mantra of spineless individuals that really don't want to get anything done.
Like I said, I'd be happy if we impeached them all and started anew.
Absolutely. I know that, I believe... Now,
besides the one from Florida, the Anna Paulina Luna, she's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I believe. Now, I don't know if I swear I saw this somewhere, and I can't find it right now. That's what I was trying to find. Is that Trump or somebody in his administration was floating the idea of putting term limits into place, or suggesting them so that way Congress. But the terms were a little different. It was 6 years for House of Representatives and 12 years for senators.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think John Kennedy might have said something about that.
He may have mentioned it, correct.
I think it was John Kennedy because he's got his puns that I love so much.
Oh yeah, everybody loves a John Kennedy. I wish what's crazy about John Kennedy, like kind of a side note, he's only been in politics since 2019. A lot of people don't know that. It's like he's basically brand new. But anyways.
He just old.
It's like I almost wish you would have got into it a while back so that way you could have ran for president. Think of John Kennedy as president. Oh God, those news conferences would be epic.
Well, the news conferences are already epic if you ever watch them.
Oh my Lord! If you don't know who John Kennedy is, a senator out of Louisiana, just go onto YouTube and put in Senator John Kennedy compilation, and you will see exactly what we mean about this man. Oh man, so
yeah, it's like that voiceover I did on TikTok. Well, I'm not calling you the dumbest person on earth, but you better hope the dumbest person on earth doesn't die.
Oh Lord! Or the quip about how I'm not saying AOC is dumb, but she's definitely the reason why we have instructions on shampoo bottles. Like, oh Lord! So
I love that guy.
But yeah, I mean, right now we're in a holding fast. I was hoping Donald Trump or at least Iran would have come out with their news so that way we could bring it to you guys in regards to what their big announcement is, right? And what's going to be earth-shattering from Iran. So I guess we're gonna have to wait on that and give it a pause until next week. That way we can report on it. Hopefully by the end of this week we'll see a little bit more traction with Congress and everything that they're doing.
The only thing I got is the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem is closed.
Like I say, it's a developing situation that we're just gonna have to monitor. That's what's so hard about this situation is just kind of like we're in a holding pattern right now of whether or not who's gonna flinch first, right? In Congress, in America, I mean, even in Middle East, doesn't matter what it is, right? Even when we're coming up on the time, right? We're about, 65 days into the 90-day pause for the tariffs, right? Somewhere around there, 65 to 70 days. So we're coming up on the whole situation with all the trade deals, too. We haven't heard anything on that.
Middle of July.
So we're still kind of sitting there. We're around 60 days then, because we got about 30 days left. So when we come back next week, guys, we're hoping to have a lot more for you with what's moving and parts and everything. Right now, it's just one of those kind of things that it's a dull time, but it's a tense time. So pay attention. Keep your family safe. Keep yourself safe. And if you're part of these riots and everything and whatever, like, stop it. Like, you have the right to protest, but don't be a fool about it.
Meh.
But thank you guys for joining us today. Mike, go ahead and take us home.
Thank you for tuning into the world's greatest podcast. And thank you to Radio for hosting us. We're very, very gracious. And if you're not already, please follow the Legislative Lounge on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Nope, not TikTok anymore, but Patreon and Twitch. And follow myself and Nate on TikTok, Professor Mike, Nate Big. That way you can see the continuing updates if you don't want to wait until next week.